Have you ever felt like a passenger in your own life? As if some unseen force is steering your decisions, pulling you towards safety and familiarity, while your higher aspirations remain just beyond the horizon. This is not mere imagination. Within the deepest, most ancient chamber of your mind resides a silent sovereign, a primal architect that has governed our existence for eons. This entity is often referred to as the reptilian complex, the very bedrock of our nervous system. It is a biological blueprint forged in the crucible of prehistoric life, a mechanism with only three unwavering directives: ensure survival at all costs, perpetuate the species, and maintain dominance over one's territory. While humanity has erected empires of thought, composed cosmic symphonies, and peered into the fabric of space-time, this primal core has remained steadfast, untouched by the currents of change. It feels no ambition for your spiritual awakening, your personal development, or your quest for existential meaning. Its currency is not wisdom, but security. It trades growth for comfort, and evolution for predictability. But consider this profound question. What if this ancient, instinctual power could be harnessed? What if you could transform the very engine of your most basic drives into a potent instrument for conscious evolution and self-mastery? In this exploration, we will journey into the inner workings of this primordial mind. We will uncover how it shapes the landscape of our emotions and, most crucially, we will illuminate the path to mastering it. Because the unyielding truth is this: if you do not assume command of this ancient part of your mind, it will, by its very nature, command you. Picture yourself walking down a quiet, unfamiliar city alleyway late at night. The distant hum of traffic is a low drone. The air is still. A sense of calm observation surrounds you. Then, suddenly, the sharp clang of a metal lid falling behind you shatters the silence. Before you can even form a conscious thought, a cascade of physiological reactions erupts. Your heart hammers against your ribs, your muscles lock into a state of high alert, and your breath catches in your throat. Your entire being is primed for immediate, decisive action to confront the threat or to flee from it. This is the raw, unfiltered power of your primal brain in action. This is your survival engine, the oldest software running in your human hardware, designed for one purpose: to react to perceived threats with blinding speed, bypassing the slower, more deliberate process of rational thought. It does not deliberate, it executes. This foundational structure of our nervous system, comprising the brainstem and cerebellum, is the seat of all our instinctual behaviors, the involuntary actions that require no conscious reasoning, the reflex that snatches your hand from a searing surface, the sudden chill that runs down your spine upon hearing an inexplicable sound in an empty house, the overwhelming urge to escape from a dangerous situation. This architecture is called reptilian because it is a heritage we share with saurian creatures. These beings operate on a pure, unadulterated biological programming. They hunt, they flee, they procreate, all through an intricate dance of instinct, devoid of complex emotional narratives or logical deliberation. We, in all our modern sophistication, still carry this ancient operating system within us. Herein lies the great paradox of our time. Our ancestors navigated a world of genuine, life-or-death threats, saber-toothed cats, rival tribes, the unforgiving elements. Today, our perceived tigers are a critical email from our boss, the fear of judgment on social media, or the pressure of a looming deadline. Our reptilian brain, however, has not received the memo. It has not evolved to differentiate between a physical predator and a psychological pressure. Consequently, it unleashes the same torrent of primitive fear in response to modern situations that pose no actual threat to our survival. This ancient system defaults to three primary crisis responses. First, there is fight. You feel a surge of anger, a wave of aggression, a powerful impulse to push back. In a true physical confrontation, this response is invaluable. But in the theater of daily life, it manifests as needless conflict, hair-trigger defensiveness, and a stubborn resistance to constructive feedback or change. Second, there is flight. This is the architect of procrastination. It compels you to evade challenges, to abandon your goals at the first sign of difficulty. The paralyzing fear of failure, the dread of rejection, the anxiety of the unknown, all of these are echoes of the instinct to flee from a predator. And third, there is freeze. You become immobilized, caught in a state of analysis paralysis, unable to make a choice or take a step forward. This occurs when the perceived threat is so overwhelming that it floods the mind, short-circuiting any capacity for action. These responses were the keys to our ancestors' survival in a brutal world. But in our modern context, they have become invisible chains, internal saboteurs that hold us back. They are the unseen forces that prevent us from taking risks, from embracing growth, from evolving into our fullest potential. That irrational terror of public speaking, the gnawing anxiety before trying something new, the chronic procrastination that sabotages your dreams. All of these are the reptilian brain's misguided attempts to protect you from a danger that exists only in your mind. Now, take a moment for honest introspection. How many of your daily decisions are born from authentic desire, and how many are dictated by fear? Is the path you walk in life one you have chosen with intention, or one you have settled for because you fear the alternative? Do you cling to your comfort zone because you genuinely cherish it, or because you are terrified of the uncertainty that lies beyond its walls? Are you truly living, or are you merely surviving? The reptilian brain does not want your evolution, it wants your stasis. Because to this ancient guardian, change equals risk, and risk equals danger. It champions routine, repetition, and predictability. This is the profound reason why so many people remain anchored in unfulfilling careers, toxic relationships, and self-destructive habits. Not because they find any joy in them, but because the primal fear of the new and the unknown is more powerful than their desire for change. The great psychoanalyst Carl Jung articulated this perfectly. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. If you fail to recognize this ancient mechanism operating within you, it will continue to write the story of your life. But if you turn to face it, with courage and awareness, you can begin the sacred work of taming it. Fear is the most primal and potent of all human emotions. It was the chisel that sculpted our species, an essential tool for survival that kept us vigilant against the real and present dangers of a wild planet. In modern society, however, this same powerful emotion is often systematically engineered and exploited as an instrument of control. Those who understand the mechanics of fear can wield it to manipulate populations, direct consumer behavior, and keep people confined within systems that may not serve their highest interests. Governments and mass media have historically understood the power of fear as a mechanism for social regulation. By maintaining a climate of collective apprehension, it becomes far simpler to justify extraordinary measures and steer public opinion. Narratives of economic collapse, the threat of terrorism, global pandemics, and the specter of war are often amplified to cultivate a pervasive sense of vulnerability. When we are afraid, our instinct is to seek refuge in authority figures and established systems that promise safety and security. This is why, in times of widespread crisis, populations are often more willing to accept significant restrictions on their personal freedoms without question, believing such measures are a necessary price for survival. The philosopher Michel Foucault termed this phenomenon biopolitics, the use of fear to manage society and solidify structures of power. The more a populace is conditioned to fear the future, the less likely it is to challenge the present. This deployment of fear extends far beyond the governmental level. It is woven into the fabric of our daily lives. The advertising industry frequently manufactures fear to sell us a cure. The fear of aging propels the multi-billion-dollar beauty industry. The fear of illness fuels the often excessive consumption of pharmaceuticals and supplements. The fear of social exclusion drives compulsive consumerism. Certain dogmatic ideologies may use the fear of divine punishment or negative karma to ensure conformity among their followers, discouraging critical inquiry and reinforcing orthodoxy. The fear of poverty or financial ruin can chain people to soul-crushing jobs, making them risk-averse and compliant within exploitative economic systems. The antidote to being controlled by manufactured fear is the cultivation of critical awareness, intellectual sovereignty. Whenever you feel the grip of fear, pause and ask yourself, is this threat real and immediate, or is it an induced state? Very often, upon calm and rational examination, we discover we are reacting to a phantom, an illusory threat amplified by an external narrative. Practicing mindfulness is a powerful tool in this endeavor. It teaches us to observe our thoughts and emotions as they arise, without being immediately swept away by them. Furthermore, cultivating knowledge and emotional independence fortifies the mind, making it resilient against manipulative narratives. Fear can be a cage, or it can be a tool. Those who fail to understand it remain prisoners of systems that capitalize on their insecurity. But those who understand it, who learn to master its place within them, become the true architects of their own destiny. Mastering the reptilian brain is not an act of war. It does not mean denying its existence or attempting to violently suppress it. This primordial part of your mind will always be with you, for it is an integral part of your biological inheritance. The work, then, is not suppression, but integration. It is about seizing conscious control over its automatic reactions, transforming them from instinctual reflexes into deliberate, conscious responses. The first step on this path is recognition. You must learn to identify when this ancient operator is at the helm. Whenever you feel a wave of irrational fear, a surge of extreme impulsivity, or a powerful resistance to positive change, you are witnessing the reptilian brain at work. It seeks the path of least resistance, the safest and most predictable option, even if that path leads to a life of quiet desperation and untapped potential. When a person sabotages a great opportunity out of a fear of failure, when they become enraged over a trivial inconvenience, or when they endlessly procrastinate on a meaningful goal, these are unmistakable signs that they are being piloted by primal instinct. The key to taming this force is to create space. You must forge a gap between the stimulus and your response. If someone's words provoke you, the immediate instinct might be to retaliate with anger. But if you can introduce a sacred pause, even for a single moment, your rational mind, the neocortex, is given time to come online and intervene. Practices such as deep, diaphragmatic breathing, mindfully observing your own internal reaction, and analyzing the situation objectively before you act are fundamental techniques for down-regulating this automatic response. Another essential element is methodical exposure to discomfort. The reptilian brain abhors any form of struggle or strain. It is the ultimate comfort seeker. But all meaningful growth, without exception, occurs outside the comfort zone. Since its strategy is to always seek the easy way out, your strategy must be to intentionally train it to embrace challenges. This training can take the form of small, daily acts of intentional resistance. Waking up an hour earlier when your body craves more sleep, completing a difficult task without succumbing to distractions, or willingly placing yourself in situations that trigger mild social anxiety. Each of these acts helps to rewire this part of the brain, teaching it that discomfort is not always synonymous with danger. Additionally, consciously reprogramming your emotional associations is a powerful technique. Since the reptilian brain responds primarily to the raw data of fear, pleasure, and pain, you can condition your mind to link positive habits with a sense of reward and negative behaviors with undesirable outcomes. Over time, through consistent practice, the brain begins to work in favor of your evolution rather than against it. Meditation and deep introspection are indispensable allies in this process. The practice of observing your thoughts without identifying with them, of seeing them as clouds passing in the sky of your awareness, grants you increasing authority over your impulses. The more you cultivate this inner awareness of your own reactions, the less you will be a hostage to your biological conditioning. Mastering the reptilian brain is not an overnight achievement. It is a continuous process of training, a discipline where every conscious choice, every moment of restraint, strengthens the dominion of your rational mind over your automatic instincts. True power is not found in ignoring this primitive force, but in harnessing it as a tool for your own growth and evolution. True human evolution is not merely a story of technological marvels or the accumulation of information. The final frontier is, and has always been, the conquest of the self. The individual who masters their own mind ceases to be a puppet of automatic reactions and becomes the sovereign of their own destiny. This is the great demarcation between those who live with conscious intent and those who simply drift through life, reacting to the world like marionettes, pulled by the strings of their own primal brain. History is replete with examples of traditions and individuals who dedicated themselves to transcending this primitive programming. The samurai warriors of Japan practiced mushin, a state of no mind, where action flows freely without the interference of fear or hesitation. The ancient yogis of India developed sophisticated techniques over millennia, to silence the turbulent impulses of the body and mind. The great Stoic philosophers of Greece and Rome, figures like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, championed the mastery of one's emotions as the definitive path to true freedom, or apatheia. When a person attains this level of self-regulation, they are no longer governed by fear. Challenges do not paralyze them. They become opportunities for growth. Criticism does not destabilize them. It becomes data to be assessed. The fleeting temptations of the world lose their power to distract from a chosen purpose. They begin to act from a place of deep intention, rather than merely reacting to the chaotic stimuli of the external world. This elevated state of being does not mean the elimination of emotions or instincts. It means understanding them so deeply that you can use them strategically. Anger, when harnessed and controlled, can be transformed into a powerful fuel for positive action. Fear, when observed with clarity, can be transmuted into prudence and careful planning, rather than paralysis. Desire, when directed with wisdom, can lead to monumental achievement, rather than enslavement to passing pleasures. Those who do not undertake this inner work remain vulnerable to external manipulation. They are perpetually driven by fear, the craving for instant gratification, and the desperate need for social approval. They are easily swayed by passing trends, political ideologies, and mass movements that are not born from their own authentic core. They live under the command of a mind that is programmed for little more than repetition and survival. But the one who transcends the reptilian brain becomes the sovereign of their inner kingdom. They do not seek validation from the outside world, for they have found it within. They are not trapped by dogma, and they do not act out of fear. They chart their own course, for they have understood the ultimate truth, that real freedom is never granted by the external world, but is forged in the crucible of a mastered mind. This is the ultimate horizon of human evolution, not a physical or technological leap, but the rise of a truly conscious being, one who is capable of shaping their own reality, free from the grip of the primitive impulses that still hold so much of humanity in their sway. What are your thoughts on this inner guardian? Share your own journey with mastering instinct in the comments below. If this message resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who might be on a similar path. Thank you for watching. If this video was helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And now, leave a comment below and tell us one thing you are grateful for today.